friends, please join me in saying our chalice lighting words, which you can find in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
It was such a blessing to see my parents, and what made it even better was that we also got to see Mick's brother and sister-in-law. So it was really a whole melding of families and really just a wonderful time. So at one point, we were all sitting by the pool. My parents have a lovely pool. And Mick decided that he wanted to try to encourage and teach Angie how to swim. So, yeah. So, he got into the water, and is of course, words of encouragement. Come on, sweetie, you can do it, you can do it. A little bit of splashing, sure, the water's not really that scary, it's gonna be okay, you can come in, we're all clapping and encouraging her, and she's just having none of it. She's just sitting there like, you gotta be kidding me. So his brother, Casey, says, I have a thought. What if I come in and she sees us having fun without her? So he jumps in, and of course, the brothers start splashing each other like crazy, and all of that turns into a little bit of brotherly wrestling. And you can just see Angie going like this. She really, really wants to go in, and it's just like, I'm scared, but finally she just jumps in and splashes in the water, and we are all just, elated, laughing and screaming and just so excited for her. And there she is, she's swimming, and, Mick is walking her through the pool, and she's doing it, and she's just getting it down so beautifully. And then she wants to try getting out, and it doesn't quite work. So we have to pick her up, and Angie's a big dog. She's about 75 pounds. We pick her up and get her out of the pool, and what does she do? She jumps right back in. And this cycle repeats probably 10 or 15 times. And even by the end, she was still having a little bit of trouble with the getting out part, but with a little bit of help, she was able to get out every time. And it really took the whole family to get her into the water. It took a village, right? Everyone. Where she could see people having fun, she could see what it was like, and that helped her to actually do it. And it really reminded me of why we come to church and why we have this water ceremony. Because it takes a village. It takes our extended church family to really help us jump into our lives and jump into a new year, new experiences, so much ahead of us. But, when we have our community, our congregation, our family, we know that if we do happen to need to step back, we will always have the comfort and the support and safety here to help us do that. And in that spirit of renewal and of the ability to dive in, let us start our celebration of life by singing our opening hymn, which is 188, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. Please stand as
take a moment to settle in and take a deep breath. Get comfortable in your seat, and I invite you to close your eyes as we turn inward for a time of meditation, reflection, or prayer. We come together this morning to find connection within ourselves, between one another, and to all of. We are returning from the journeys of summer, those near and far, those within our own backyards or our own hearts, and those far beyond our usual horizons. We come together to restore our connection to this place and this faith. As summer comes to a close, we recognize the changes in ourselves and in our environment, becoming aware that they exist and yet realizing that they are neither good nor bad. We rest together in this moment, each feeling like a single drop of water, full of potential and promise, flexible and ready to adapt, small, yet a part of something so much greater. We come from different places, yet we join together in the container of this community. And we give thanks for this amazing vessel, the church, which continues to shape us as we in turn try to shape it. We are grateful for this time together in beginning a new season full of joy, hope, challenge, and grace. Let us take a few moments of quiet to drink in these new beginnings together. May the silence we have shared continue to hold us and heal us all.
So, 4.6 billion years ago, gravity pulled together dust particles of an exploding supernova to form a planet of molten lava. Any guesses on what that planet was? Mars. Good guess. Earth. I've always loved the history of Earth's formation. If you look at almost every creation story, some piece of it has a flood in the story. And the fun thing is that the stories aren't actually wrong about the flood part, because we did have a massive flood on this planet. But instead of 40 days of rain, we had almost 1 million years of rain. Earth's massive flood, 3.8 billion years ago. And that is how we went from a molten lava planet to a water planet. 1 million years of rain. That endears me to Western New York. I will spare you the rest of the story, of this creation story, because honestly, we don't have the time. But it is a glorious story, and one that I hope all of you will look up. Because even though we are a tiny, tiny fraction of that history, the tale of our planet is awesome. I know. It probably makes me a bit of a nerd that I love the physics and the biology and the geology of how we got here. But, or maybe it's the fact that I have a significant other who is a scientist. But this is a creation story that almost everyone in our tradition believes in. And we're not a tradition that has a ton of common stories that all of us live by. But there's a good reason why this story matters to all of us, because it happened. And we have the rocks and the water to prove it. It's more than just a story. So you may ask, why do I expound on the science of the Earth's formation and the history of water on this planet? And I'll tell you why. Because that 1 million years of rain was the beginning and the source of all life on this planet. Out of water, life was born. Life evolved, life sustained, and life continues. And because we take our story from science, at least as one of the stories, the many stories that shape us, we have a deep spiritual connection to water, because it's why we're here. And that's what we engage when we look to the spiritual, right? The why, the what, the how. In our lives, as well as today, we answer those questions differently, but they all have the same origins of water. That we all come from water, and water gave us all life. Where that water takes us is the glorious component that gets to change from person to person. And that is what we get to share with each other today. Because this need for water is universal. It is our commonality with every human being and almost every creature that walks or swims the earth. But as a faith tradition and as a congregation, water is the source of our spiritual lives as well. Because it gives our mind clarity and our bodies strength. Water in general is the source of spiritual life in our tradition. But the water that you bring is the source of your individual spiritual life. All these waters we bring are united, bound together by a shared history, if not a shared present. And the greatest thing that we have the privilege of doing today is that these scattered sources of spiritual life come together. The waters return once more to each other to create one spiritual source for all of us here today. We are joined together by our sources and our water to fill each day with the wellspring that we create as a congregation of life, to carry us through the year. I have had the honor and the privilege to serve as this congregation's coordinator of social action. And I have witnessed UUCC's deep spiritual and lived engagement against hydrofracking. But more importantly, I've seen our commitment for keeping our waters clean, keeping our water to be what nourishes our body, the land, nourishes the life that is and will be. I honor that spirit by raising up our UU kindred who purified a piece of the Ohio River, previously enriched with carbon dioxide and other poisons resulting from mountaintop removal. I received this at a rally at General Assembly from a small UU congregation in Kentucky. They passed this water out to all of us so that we would know that clean water is always possible. We stand for clean water because we owe it to the source that gave us life. And this symbol of hope reminds me that here at UUCC, we are always able to purify even the muckiest of waters. Whether literally cleaning in Kentucky from mountaintop removal, Pennsylvania from gas leaks from hydrofracking, as far as our friends in Japan who face seemingly insurmountable challenges as a result of nuclear disaster in Fukushima. Let us nourish our friends around the world. But in addition to our spiritual activism, we also have the opportunity to purify the mucky waters within us. And that's what we do here today. We renew and replenish our spiritual source of life, whatever that may be, to create a holy source united by a common purpose, to give life. So in this spirit, let us open our water ceremony by singing the first verse of hymn number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Represents. And what we're going to do is, after every 5 people that have shared, we're just going to give a little affirmation. I will cue you, I will stand up, and Bill will play a very brief prelude to introduction. And then we will sing the refrain that is in then we'll sit back down and more people will share, and we will do this until everyone who feels called to share has shared. So friends, I invite you up to pour your water and tell us a little bit about what it means to you.
This is also water from the tap. Mostly because I forgot my water this morning. And if you did the same, you may also get some symbolic tap water over here. We have some cups available. But I also chose this water because this place is my new spiritual home, and I'm looking forward to being part of the water here.
This is, as I said, the water from the Ohio River, a segment which was purified by a congregation, for hope that we may do the same. It looks like everyone who wants to share has, and so I invite you all to stand as you are able, and we will sing the fourth verse of number 21, 43 of the
verses 1, 2, and 3.
Join us for worship every Sunday at 10 a.m. at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Canandaigua, a welcoming congregation. We are located at 3024 Cooley Road, 4 miles west of South Main Street, Canandaigua, just north of the intersection with Routes 5 and 20. Look for the blue signs just before the turn. Your comments about this program or questions about the church are welcome at 585-396-1370 or at our website, www.canandaiguauu.org. Producer and editor, Daniel Brigham.